So when we were looking at the unit circle, we saw that you can have radians or degrees. Sometimes it's helpful to go back and forth. So we're going to see how to convert radians to degrees and then, vice versa. One thing that we do know about the unit circle is that there are 360 degrees or 2 pi radians. So if you go back to the unit circle that we've been looking at, there were 360 degrees or 2 pi radians. What that means for us is that 360 degrees is equal to 2 pi radians, which we always write as rad. So if we want to convert from one to the other, all we do is set up a proportion. So what you're going to do is set up a proportion and solve for x. For example, let's convert pi radians to degrees. So in this problem, I'm giving you the radians. I want to know how many degrees, so I'm going to have x degrees. So the proportion I'll set up is pi over 2 pi. So the number of radians that I was given over the total number of radians in a circle is how many degrees, so that's my x, over the total number of degrees, that would be 360. How do I solve this for x? I'm going to cross multiply. So if I cross multiply, I get 360 times pi is 2 pi x. Now divide both sides by 2 pi, and I'll get 180 degrees. So what that tells me is that pi radians is equal to 180 degrees. Do another example. This time let's convert pi over 5 radians to degrees. So I gave you the radians yet again. I want to know how many degrees, so I set up the same proportion. So the number of radians that I was given over 2 pi is going to be equal to the number of degrees that I'm looking for over 360. Now cross multiply. So I cross multiply, I'll get 360 times pi over 5 is equal to 2 pi times x. Now I can divide the 360 by 5 and I get 72. So 72 pi is 2 pi x. Now to solve for x, divide both sides by 2 pi, so I'll get x is 36. So that tells me that pi over 5 radians is equal to 36 degrees. Now let's try some where we're going the other way. So I'm going to give you the degrees, tell me the radians. So this time, let's convert 152 degrees to radians. This time I give you the degrees. I want to know the radians, so set up your proportion. 152 over 360, so the number of degrees that I gave you over the total number of degrees in a circle is how many radians, that's x, over 2 pi. Okay, cross multiply, so 152 times 2 pi, that would be 304 pi. It's going to be equal to 360x. Now divide both sides by 360, so I'll get x is 304 over 360 pi. And I can reduce this to be 38 over 45 pi is x. Or you could write it as a decimal. So I could say this is 2.653. What this tells me is that 152 degrees is going to be equal to 38 over 45 pi, which is approximately, these are in radians, 2.653 radians. Doesn't matter to me if you use the fraction or the decimal. And then lastly, let's convert 130 degrees to radians. So I gave you the number of degrees, I want to know how many radians. So 130 degrees over 360, which is the total number of degrees in a circle, is going to be equal to the number of radians we're looking for over 2 pi. Cross multiply, 130 times 2 pi is 260 pi, is equal to 360x. Now divide both sides by 360, so I'll get 260 over 360 pi is equal to x. Well, 260 over 360, that's 13 over 18, is equal to x, which is approximately 2.269. So what that tells me is that 130 degrees is equal to 13 over 18 pi radians, which is approximately 2.269 radians. So in general, to go from one to the other, set up your proportion, put the x over 2 pi if you're looking for radians, put it over 360 if you're looking for degrees, cross multiply, divide, and solve for x.